If I was born in Toronto and my skin was white, I'd be coaching.
I'm trying to believe that prejudice wasn't a factor, but I'm concerned that it was.
I've always felt unwanted.
Welcome back to Steele and Vance. We are talking hockey, but we're talking hate and racism in hockey.
And that was a little bit of a documentary from TSN about Canadian coach Ted Nolan. First of all, there is a problem with racism in the NHL and discrimination. We've been talking about it for years. But Ted's an interesting sort of narrator of a story because, first of all, he was a player. And this is a kid from Ontario, from the Garden River First Nation in Ontario. He was a player, then he was a coach with Buffalo. And then he ended up writing a memoir called Life in Two Worlds, just about, his challenging journey from facing racism and discrimination as a kid in the minors and then all the way up, and even in the way that it kind of ended his coaching career.
Right.
And there is a really interesting symposium that's taking place in Toronto tomorrow. It is called Hate in Hockey Symposium, and it is going to take place at the Hockey Hall of Fame. And so we have two guests with us. We have Ted Nolan. Thank you so much for joining us, Ted. And we also have Brad Galloway, who's the coordinator for the Center on Hate, Bias, and Extremism. Thank you both for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
Well, Ted, let's start with you and just speak to that clip that we just heard. If you had been a white man, you would be coaching in the NHL. Like, it's a very definitive statement to be made, and the bias that exists that cannot be ignored in the game that we all love so much.
Well, it's kind of it's tough when you see other people get fired, and all of a sudden within a very short period of time, whether a month or 2 months or sometimes a little bit longer, they always seem to have another opportunity and an opportunity after that and an opportunity after that. And for myself, it was 10 years. And I went back to junior hockey. That was in Moncton, New Brunswick, with the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. And it wasn't even a GM that called me. It was the owner of the Moncton Wildcats. His name was Robert Irving. So I never got a call from anybody in hockey per se. So I was just really thankful that Robert wanted me to be part of his team, and but I just felt you see everybody else, so that's when it gets frustrating.
Yeah. As a young boy playing hockey, and then a young man, and then a coach, to continually be facing this racism and discrimination when, as Canadians and North Americans, we should be better than this. Is there an experience, a moment that hurt the most for you?
Oh man, there's a couple. Writing the book, there was some very tough times going through the hockey experience. Probably the biggest one that had the biggest scar on me, when I was 16 years old, I got asked to play in a Manitoba Junior Hockey League, and the team that I went to, the town at the time wasn't very friendly to the First Nation population. I was unaware. I went to my first practice, and I had a couple of fights during my first practice, and that was the team that I was trying out for. And the guys on the team were asking, "So what are you doing here? You stinking Wahoo, and get back to the reservation." All those type of names. And I fought, and that happened for the next 2 or 3 days. And then I went to school, and the same thing happened there. And then I went out one night walking the streets, and one guy grabbed me, and he was going to throw me over a kind of like an embankment into the water. And I mean, I would have been just one more of the missing and murdered people. So it was one of those. It was just when you think of all that stuff, and you're a 16-year-old kid. I mean, that's what was like, just trying to play, and then you play, and you just kind of block everything out, and tell you the truth, that rest of the year, I even managed to win Rookie of the Year on the team, but tell you the truth, I don't remember the whole season.
Wow. Well, tell us about the Three Nolan School. You have boys. you're trying to make the change that you witnessed so incredibly poignantly, as you just shared, even just a snippet of it. Tell us about how you're trying to make change here.
Well, just trying to make change. My two sons very I love the game of hockey. I just I don't like some of the things hockey does, but the game itself it's a wonderful, wonderful game, and so I introduced it to my boys. Like I got introduced. I made a rink in my backyard, let the kids play, and Jordan was lucky enough to get drafted by the Los Angeles Kings and win 2 Stanley Cups with them. And then Brandon was lucky enough to get drafted in the National Hockey League also and play with the Carolina Hurricanes. And after they retired, and myself out of the game, my oldest son Brandon said, "Hey, Dad, what do you think about starting a hockey school? We can go to First Nation communities and talk to the kids about the importance of education, the importance of nutrition and believing in yourself." And it wasn't nothing to do with developing NHL players. It was just something to do to better the kids, so when they go somewhere, they'll be better citizens. So that's how it all started.
Love it. Let's bring in Brad Galloway, who's very been patiently sitting there waiting. Brad, thanks so much. Tell us about Hate in Hockey Symposium and who some of the speakers are going to be.
Yeah, so I mean, the idea came out of that we at our center would like to amplify the voices of people that are contributing to diversity in the game and can add from obviously stories such as Ted's. We have also Kim Alou, who's with the Hockey Diversity Alliance, and we have people from the media and also people who are academics who study hate and bias around our game. So it should be a very interesting conversation, and I think that what we're looking for is to create conversations and ideas to further diversity in the game, and also make it a safe space for all Canadians to play our game that we love so much.
Amen.
Ted, I want to go back to you and talk a little bit about the change again that you're trying to bring forward here, and the generational trauma that you've shared in your book. That had impacted you throughout your career. You once said, "I never dreamed or aspired to be a hockey player nor a coach," and then yet there you were doing exactly that, and how your path has led you to here today and the symposium that you're leading.
Well, even with myself, there's thousands of kids like me in our First Nation communities that were probably 3 times better hockey players than I was. But going through just a little quick thing that I told you about myself going through Kenora, it's a tough thing to go through. And I have a number of people in my life that didn't know what I was going through, and until they read the book. I kept coming home and I pretend I was having a good time where I was playing and enjoying making new friends, but in reality, I couldn't wait for the season to end. I couldn't wait to come back home, and so I just really, I just picture myself as a young boy. How would I want my child to be treated? So when I became a coach, that was my number one priority. Not so much about winning and losing. I think winning takes care of itself. If you have a good team and you're competitive, you make the right decisions, you score one more goal than the opposition, you win. So it's just, but how everybody has that same fair and equal opportunity is important. And there's some kids that make the team because their parents know somebody who's on the management team. And
right.
Unfortunately, with the minority group going into majority groups, it's hard to fit in and it's hard to get accepted.
Yeah. Brad, before we let you go, is there a way for people to watch the symposium, or will it be recorded and people will be able to tap into it later?
I believe there's something like that going on, but we can definitely share the link for that. It's all over our social media for the Center on Hate, Bias, and Extremism. So it's on Twitter, Facebook. So we're there are still some spots available. So we're hoping lots of people from a various variety of fields want to come out and learn about our game and how we can make it a safer place for everybody.
Super important subject. Thank you both for joining us. We really appreciate it, and best of luck with the event tomorrow.
Thanks for having us in.
Thanks for sharing.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, good luck with the event. Wow.
Ted Nolan, former NHL coach, and Brad Galloway, the coordinator of the Center on Hate, Bias, and Extremism.
We've got lots still to come on the show, including a bit of a mystery meets a novel meets Netflix.
Yeah, a severed foot mystery. Does that sound familiar? It's landed a Vancouver lawyer turned author in a hit Netflix series, and he joins us next.
And as we pause here for tonight's viewing party, we say hello to Shannon in Langley. Hi, Shannon.
We have a viewer who's using American Sign Language with his cat named Albus. Hello.
Cameron in Mount Pleasant. Hello, Cameron.
And we have Don in Crofton. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching.
You want to get in on the fun? Take a picture of you watching us, send it to viewingparty@chekmedia.ca, and you might just see your mug right here with us.